Hello, welcome to the Comic Buffet Podcast. I'm, of course, your host, Raffi. It is a new year. We're doing new episodes. It's a new direction. And we have some old co-hosts today. Here with me today, I have the incredible Paul.
Yo.
And the sensational Jamie.
What's up?
Now, if they're here, you know what we're talking about. Sex criminals. No, we're not talking about that, actually. No, it's a bold new direction. We're talking about She-Hulk. For a couple of reasons. She's getting a Disney Plus show. So that's exciting. It is, at the time of this recording, St. Paddy's Day tomorrow. So, you know, because she's green. I swear to God, I did not think about that going into it.
Makes sense to me.
I forget St. Paddy's Day exists.
At least we didn't record it tomorrow.
It's kind of a joke of a holiday, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, and I thought She-Hulk would work really well, because I know Jamie likes She-Hulk.
Yes.
And I know Paul plays Fortnite.
I do play Fortnite.
I can't get over how Fortnite can just get anyone.
It's just that easy for them.
They can get Marvel, they can get DC characters.
They're getting
They can get Keanu Reeves and Star Wars.
They're getting Doctor Strange
and LeBron James. Like
Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer, Rick and Morty. They can get anyone. It's incredible.
Money's no object for them.
Money is no object.
Is that the Flash?
No. No, that is Ant-Man.
Oh.
Okay, alright.
And that's
great start.
And that's Hellcat.
Hellcat.
Wow.
Never heard of her in my life.
Yeah, when she's on Fortnite, what the hell?
What? Yeah.
Wait, was Ant-Man in Fortnite?
Yes.
Yes, he was.
Nice.
Yep. He made it.
He doesn't look like that at all.
Was it Scott Lang, though? Was it like the Paul Rudd one?
I think it was Paul Rudd.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
It was Paul Rudd himself. He featured in Fortnite.
Yeah, no, they actually...
He made it.
You see his face. Like,
oh, it is him.
You're a big Ant-Man supporter.
I love it. Yeah. So yeah, this book is from 2014. Where I specifically have the second volume in front of me. I do have all the issues down there as well, but we're going to talk a little bit about the first part of this, mostly the middle of it, and then a little bit of the end, because there's 3 story arcs in this book, and the middle one is the one that we're going to talk the most about. I do want to go over it, because her history is funny. I have to say this, right? So She-Hulk is a very, like, respectable, like, powerful, not just in strength, but also, like, in her image and, like, the message she puts out. Like, she's a very confident woman character, which isn't something you see a lot of. Mm-hmm. The only, like, thing about her that you could kind of mark as, like, a downside is that she's derivative of the Hulk, but she is so popular, she's kind of grown out of that and sort of, you know, been her own character. But despite how beloved she is now, she actually has pretty, like, ironically, like, legal beginnings in terms of how and why they created her. So, in 1980, they did the first She-Hulk book, which was called Savage She-Hulk, written by Stan Lee and David Anthony Kraft. She was actually the last character Stan Lee invented for Marvel until Ravage! In 1990-something. Nobody...
He didn't last, huh?
No one's talking about Ravage.
No.
Until the MCU decides, guys, I think it's time for Ravage.
I'll be watching it.
But yeah, and the thing is, so they didn't create She-Hulk, like, for, like, good reasons, I guess. It was kind of scummy. Okay, so...
Oh, boy.
So this isn't a show that our parents would know this show. There's a show called The $6 Billion Man.
Oh, I know that!
Yeah. So that show was successful on television, and the network made a spin-off of it called The Bionic Woman.
Yes.
On the same network was The Incredible Hulk, starring Lou Ferrigno, and I don't remember who Bruce Banner's actor was, but that is the one where they literally just painted a dude green.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was... Yeah.
And he had a mullet.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yes.
But that was really successful, too, at the time. And Marvel Editorial was kind of worried because, you know, if the network decided to do a female spin-off of Hulk, that would be a character that the network would own most of the profits from. So Marvel Editorial was like, I know how we get in front of this problem. We do it first. So they created a female Hulk so that if the network decided to spin off into a She-Hulk show, the character would already exist and they'd have to give Marvel, like, properties and stuff.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah. Now, thankfully, she didn't just exist as, like, a legal loophole or anything. And she did get more runs afterwards. A lot of origin stories, I feel like, in the Marvel Universe have the opportunity of becoming, like, complicated. She's just a lawyer who's shot by, like, criminals.
Yeah.
And then Bruce Banner's like, oh no, my cousin, have some blood, and so his blood turns her into She-Hulk. In 1989, she had her second run, written by John Byrne. This one, she like broke the fourth wall. Whatever Deadpool to do, She-Hulk did it first. She would literally like break through panels and like step through one panel to get to like the next scene or something.
Oh my god!
Yeah. In 2004, her third run was written by Dan Slott. This one was kind of during like a lot of Marvel events. So like the event Civil War in the comics. She-Hulk was on Iron Man's side, which is to say she was totally fine with the Registration Act and all that stuff. And a lot of people forget about that, but it's like, it kind of makes sense when you acknowledge that she's, she believes in the legal system.
Yeah.
But yeah, that happened there. It also involved, like, Secret Invasion, where, like, aliens came down and impersonated people. There's literally panels where it's, like, Oprah Winfrey on, like, a TV stand, and, like, she turns into a Skrull.
What?
Oh.
Yeah, this whole time Oprah's been a Skrull in the Marvel Universe.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a weird... No one ever talks about it. They really should.
The fact that Oprah's in a Marvel comic.
Yeah,
which is not even Oprah.
Yeah. I just like the
That's
indication.
so sad.
Like, living in the Marvel Universe is already scary enough, but then when you realize this person you've been watching on TV, like, in the background for years, has been an alien and you had no idea, it's like, yeah, how do you not just go crazy?
Holy shit.
But, she got this book because in 2012, whoa. Okay, so this is writer Matt Fraction, who wrote Sex Criminals.
Oh, yay!
Yeah, he wrote a Fantastic Four book called FF, where the actual Fantastic Four was busy. So they had to get, like, subs, basically.
Okay.
So they got Scott Lang Ant-Man. First great choice. They got a character named Miss Thing, who's just a woman in a Thing costume.
Oh, great.
Okay.
They got Medusa, Queen of the Inhumans.
What?
Alright.
And then they got She-Hulk.
It sounds like a weird Fortnite battle pass.
Yeah. And, She-Hulk had been on the Fantastic Four every now and again. Like, the Thing, the big rocky guy. One time he was cured of his powers, and he's like, I'm not going to be a superhero. And so She-Hulk was like, I'll do it. I'll wear a Fantastic Four costume. That'll be fun. I'll reject the Human Torch around every corner. Sure, let's do it. Yeah, so She-Hulk isn't the only main character in this book. Obviously, Hellcat is here, being a lady in a cat suit. I'm not going to spend as much time on her, but suffice to say, in 1944, she was a rom-com comic book character.
44.
Yeah, she predates She-Hulk.
An interesting choice.
Yeah, she was like Marvel's attempt at doing like Archie comics.
Oh.
Yeah, she was like in teen romance books. And then when they were like, oh, we just have this character kind of sitting around, what do we do with her? In the 70s, she becomes a lab assistant to Beast from the X-Men. Who's taking a sabbatical. He's not working right now.
Okay.
And I love this, she's inspired by Beast to become a superhero. I guess that's why she becomes Hellcat.
What's her powers?
Well...
Did she turn into a cat?
Utility belt.
Like a demon cat?
No. I think for a while she had, like, extra lives. Like 9 lives, like a cat.
I mean, that's cool, but that ain't a power, right? That's just, like, more a burden. Like, oh, I'm dead, but I'm back now.
Yeah, I mean, at least it's 9 and not 90, where she could probably lose count at some point. But yeah, she married the son of Satan for a little while, Hellcat.
Oh, okay.
That's a good choice. I like that.
She went crazy and killed herself.
Good thing she had extra lives, I guess.
She came back to life, obviously. Hey, it worked out for her. After this, like currently in 2022, she's engaged. She's engaged to Iron Man.
Iron Man.
I have problems with that.
He has no relationship with Pepper at all.
That's
in the comics.
I was gonna say Winnie. I don't know why. Is there any character named Winnie in the
Winnie the Pooh?
Not that one.
The opening arc for this book, and it's why the cover is the way it is. There's a short story about She-Hulk and Hellcat teaming up with Ant-Man. Basically, the idea with this run, starting from like issue 1, is She-Hulk is fired from her law firm because like she comes down and like she worked all these cases basically. She worked like 300 cases or something, and she was expecting like a promotion, a raise, all that stuff. She wanted to make partner, and it's funny, in the panel, it's like 2 dudes that like look the same, because they're just generic lawyer white dudes, and they're like, yeah, see, Jen, we were just kind of hoping, like, you've done a lot of work for us, but just kind of basic clientele. And she's like, what do you mean? It's like, well, you're a superhero, we just thought that, within that community, you could bring in more notable customers.
Oh, they're just using her.
Yeah, and she's like, you just want me to, like, do superhero cases? And they're like, yeah. And she takes her finger, and she splits the table in half, and then she walks out.
Oh my god.
And they're like, okay, well, you're fired. And she's like, gone.
She's like, okay.
Wow.
You think you fired me, but I just quit.
So she goes independent. She gets an office. She's in this office building, and it's funny because one of her office building neighbors is Howard the Duck, who's running a detective agency.
Howard the Duck?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
remember that for when we talk about it in December. Or whenever that episode's going to be. We're going to do that Howard the Duck book.
Okay.
I'm very excited.
And it's written by Chip Zdarsky, who drew Sex Criminals.
That name sounded familiar.
Yep. His dumb duck book.
You know what's really funny is I think when they did the Jennifer Walters setup in Fortnite, they had another thing next door, and I'm pretty sure it was Howard the Duck.
But yeah, so Hellcat, she meets up with Hellcat just at a club because they're friends. And Hellcat doesn't have a job or a passion or any direction. She's very much like that, like, friend with a lot of passion, but not really any, like, job talent.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets a job working for Jennifer. And then Jen also hires this woman named, like, Angie, who is, like, this mysterious woman with a pet monkey.
I dig it.
I like that. What's the monkey's name?
Hey.
Hey!
So a character says that they used to see monkeys like that in South America.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
He looks like Marcel, right?
Well, here, look.
Okay.
So this is Angie here, and this is Hey.
Yeah.
That's a monkey.
Yeah, so yeah, it is like a Marcel monkey. There are these two guys that go to She-Hulk, and they're like, hey, yeah, so we made a shrinking helmet, and Hank Pym's threatening to sue us. And she's like, well, yeah, you made a helmet that shrinks you. And they're like, no, it's different. And so she and Hellcat test that helmet, and it shrinks them, and it can't grow them back, and they're stuck in, like, a backyard, and it's like that movie, Ants, or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, no, it's more like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a silly adventure. They fight a cat, because it's giant to them.
It really sounds like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Hank Pym eventually shows up, because he's like, I was on my way to, like, really double down on the suing them thing. Yeah, needless to say, they don't get to make their own shrinking helmet.
They did not get that patented.
But it is fun to think just in this universe, like, someone would try to replicate that. Even like a regular scientist would try to just replicate that. But the main story we're talking about here, it's gonna divide the audience here.
Oh, good.
She-Hulk defends Captain America in court.
Good.
Well, fuck Captain America.
Excuse you.
He's an American icon. God bless. So yeah, Cap, he's being sued for wrongful death.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he kill someone?
He got someone killed. The arc opens with this guy named Harold, who's an old man, and he's on his deathbed. And he has, like, this admission of, or what's it called? An admission of death or something?
A dying declaration?
Yes, that. He has that, and he tells his grandson this story. And we get flashbacks to it in this book, which is nice. And the story basically goes that when Steve Rogers was a teenager, before he was Cap and all that stuff, he helped this other kid named Sam go find his older brother, Harold. And Harold, the older brother, like, he fell in with a Nazi gang, not because he believed in what they believed, but because, like, he was safer with them. It's a gang mentality you see with, like, a lot of stuff, even today with gang culture, is like, it was safer to be on their side because their side was tougher.
Yeah.
So he was with them, and Steve and Sam went down, I think they went down to California, and to go get him. His Nazi friends caught them, and, like, they were threatening to kill Steve and Sam. And Steve, even as, like, a weak, puny teenager, stood up to the Nazi captain and, like, talked all this stuff about how he was a coward. And, like, the kind of men that they're trying to stem down are the kind of men that can beat them, that whole thing.
Right.
And the Nazi guy just got angry and shot and killed Sam.
Oh.
Yeah, and so Harold was, like, that's after the shooting is when, like, the FBI showed up. And people were arrested. Harold was moved out of there. Steve walked away from it. But that's, like, the full story, and like you get bits and pieces of that throughout the law case because some of it is confidential, and some of it you have to find out like in not so legal ways, but that is essentially the story there, and the thing that Harold is accusing is that if Steve just kept his mouth shut, Sam wouldn't have been shot. The other thing with Steve right now is that, okay, so a magic cube that turned itself into a little girl took away his super soldier serum.
Okay, this sounds like an episode of Doctor Who now.
Which, as a result, rapidly aged him to the age he should be.
Oh.
So he's like 90.
Oh.
Yeah, which is why, like, hold on. Which is why he looks like this now. This is Steve Rogers being 90.
Oh my.
Oh, well, for 90 years old, he's still,
he's keeping it together.
pretty fit, yeah.
Yeah. He's keeping it together. And, like, the thing is, you know, because they're friends, She-Hulk is, like, looking for any way to win this case for Cap. She thinks that she can get it dismissed since before 1940. So this is interesting. She thinks she can get it dismissed because before... Yeah, in 1940, Cap died on national television. Which is to say he got on, like, that plane that, like, crashed. Mm-hmm. And when that happened, he was written to be, like, he was written off to be dead.
Right.
So she kind of recovered that. He could be legally dead, and, like, you know, you can't sue someone who's dead.
Right.
And Cap is like, oh, no, you can't do that. And Jenna's like, but Steve, I could just wrap the whole thing up. And she's like, no, I want to do this the right way.
That is the right way. You were legally dead.
He doesn't, yeah, he doesn't want to win on technicality.
That's how the law works.
So, let's see. So Jen, she doesn't have a license to work in California, but she knows another lawyer who is in California who she can, what is the term that she uses?
Co-counsel?
Yes, thank you. So she calls up Matt Murdock, a.k.a. Daredevil, who's in California at this point.
That's great.
Should have called Ravage. No?
I don't think Ravage is licensed to practice law in the state of
No,
California
he's like a mercenary in the future or some shit.
I don't know.
Man. Sorry, Ravage.
Get out of here, Ravage. Get out of here, shoot. Bang, bang, bang.
It's like the Meg.
Get out of here, Meg.
Oh.
But she calls up Matt Murdock, explains, you know, the case. Like, at first she's like, I'm wondering if I can co-counsel in California and all that stuff. He's like, yeah, sure, we can do that. Well, what's the case about? And she explains it. And he's like, yeah, I can't help you with that. No, goodbye. And he
oh, excuse you.
Yeah, and she's like, rude.
How can you not help defend America's ass?
But then, so she has another person in California who she can go to. Someone that annoys her very much, but, like, is the only other person she can go to. This guy named Matt Rocks. So there's an X-Man named the Multiple Man.
Okay.
Who can create multiples of himself.
Okay.
Those multiples, if they go off and learn something, if he makes a multiple, and he goes and he learns how to speak Japanese, and he comes back and he fuses back into the original guy will know Japanese.
Okay.
So
that's fucking cool.
Yeah, so in theory he should be the strongest character on Earth, but he isn't.
Strongest, smartest.
At this point in time,
versatile.
At this point in time, Multiple Man was in, like, I think he was married, so he had, like, promised to pull in all his duplicates from, like, over the Earth. But Matt Rocks is a Multiple Man copy that wasn't pulled in. And they bring that up. Hellcat brings that up, and he's like, oh yeah, no, I got a sweet deal. With Multiple Man. See, I just send him money, and he lets me live.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah, no, so Matt Rocks he's just a Multiple Man who is a legal expert. Okay. And he's also like a generic kind of like sunglasses businessman, snapping fingers, making deals. Oh. He's got a 10 o'clock tennis match or whatever.
So he's got no powers because
I think
he just learns.
No, he can make duplicates. The duplicates can also make duplicates.
Holy shit!
But the more duplicates, the further down you go, the dumber they get. So like, I have multiple man. I'll make more of me. No, don't.
He's like, I'm gonna go back in you. It's like, no, you
stay out. I don't know what you know. I don't know what fucked up shit you learned. You stay away from me.
I'm afraid.
I'm afraid. No, it's great, right? So Matt Rocks is like, yeah, you can use my office. You can use here. I got a bunch of these duplicates. They're way too stupid to do anything. They'll get you copies of stuff. They'll get you coffee. They can lift stuff.
They'll go mail something for you.
And they're like very pale, and they'll wear like gray suits.
Oh my god, I love it.
Seems legit.
They're not real people. You can smack them around.
Oh my god.
Legally, they're not real.
They will thank you.
You're welcome. So, first day of court.
All right.
There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of media around, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking someone was like, Captain America is getting sued for wrongful death. Like you're gonna get media attention on that.
Yeah.
Now they also give Wildcat her own little job in this, where she goes to like break into a government facility and steal some files.
As you do.
As you do, as you must, honestly, when defending Captain America.
Exactly what you gotta
that
do,
doesn't
you know?
sound. Don't know where the chain of evidence for that is going to be. It doesn't sound legit, but.
Yep. But the first day in court, Jen goes in, and her opponent in court is Matt Murdock.
That's why he can't help you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he explains to the court that the concept of hearsay, and he explains the term of the dying declaration, all that stuff. They explain the story. He gets a police officer who like digs up an old police report from that day, where like it's funny, right? So he's talking to this cop on the stand, and the cop reads this old police report from like what Steve Rogers told the police after it happened, and Steve said it's all my fault. And then you cut to Jen, and she's just like, God damn it. And he calls up this professor, and he insinuates that the reason Captain America joined the military and did the Super Soldier Project was to escape conviction for the crime of getting this kid killed.
I don't think that's true.
Because back then, there were a lot of people who were, like, criminals who would join up with the military
Right.
to get away, to escape with their crimes.
Still happens.
Yeah, exactly. It still happens.
But I have a question for that timeline.
Yeah.
So if he was legally dead at the time that this happened, then that wouldn't stand.
Oh, no, not when it happened. He was, like, it happened when he was a teenager. Then as Captain America, he died in 1940. So, it's like, legally, because it's the Marvel Universe and people fucking die and come back all the time, legally he is both alive and dead.
Right.
Which is the status of a lot of characters.
Okay.
So she wanted to go with she wanted to win on that technicality. Of
You can't sue a dead person.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even though he's standing right here and he's old and oh my god, look at him, this paperwork says he's dead.
Right, got it.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I guess would happen all the time in this universe. There's an Ant-Man comic where Scott's trying to get a job, and the guy is like, oh, there's this big gap in your resume. What's that about? And he's like, oh, I was dead for a couple of years.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well.
Glad you're back.
Why did you just say so? So, afterwards, after day one, they're in the office, and Jen is like, okay, at this time, Matt Murdock, his identity is public. Everyone knows he's Daredevil. And Jen is like, maybe we can get Matt kicked off the case, because, you've worked with him as Captain America and Daredevil.
Conflict of interest.
Yeah, exactly. And Steve was like, no. That's I don't want a technicality. Like
That's not winning. That's just how you get different representation.
He's there.
Steve.
Well, listen. No, you're in the right, because every time he does this, you could see Jen get a little more mad. Like, she breaks a pencil in her hand. She's like, yes, you'll do it your way. And then, like, Steve, walks off to, go in for the night. And she's just alone in the office, just angry, just simmering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does get those files that Hellcat stole, and it's great because she's like, yeah, no, stealing those files from the government facility was because she's wearing a stealth suit. It's like a black version of her costume, and she was like, I only get to wear this for like bad occasions, when it's like something awful, and Steve is like, you broke into a government facility and probably knocked out a bunch of people and stole government files. This is what you call a good situation? And Hellcat is like, yeah, but I mean I use this to sneak into X's house and stuff,
Oh.
So outside of court, She-Hulk and Daredevil meet up. And they just kind of do the superhero thing where they run on rooftops for a little while. Daredevil basically plays come catch me. And She-Hulk's like, what is this? I'm gonna get back here. And they talk, and Matt tells her, like, the family of that Harold guy reached out to Matt Murdock to take the case. And at first he rejected it because it involved Captain America. And he ended up calling Cap and talking to him about it. And Steve asked him to take the case. So Steve asked both Matt... Steve asked Matt to, what's the word, accuse him? Or what's the right...
prosecute.
Okay, to prosecute him, and he asked Jen to defend him.
There's gotta be a reason.
Why?
Yes, why indeed.
Steven.
Steven. Just like you think you're his mother. Steven! You get in here, you put your shield away.
Right now.
The final day of court, Jen's final statement is that Harold's brother would have gone to find him with or without Steve.
Okay.
And everything Steve did was in his character. And Steve's involvement, even if it didn't mean much in relation to Sam's death, still resulted in a positive outcome because, and the last thing they reveal here is that, so Sam dies, the FBI show up, the Nazis are arrested, all that stuff. One of the FBI agents is talking to Steve afterwards, and Steve feels like terrible because he got his friend killed. And Steve is like, I've been considering joining the army, but I don't know if I'm the kind of man that deserves to do that. Like, I let my friend die. And the FBI agent tells him, like, some of the other guys were telling me the stuff you were saying to those Nazis. And I gotta tell you, kid, if we had more people like you out there, we'd win this war quicker. So, if it weren't for Sam's death, or this little pep talk he got from the FBI, Steve would have never tried to get into the army, and as a result, become Captain America.
Okay.
Shit.
So, that's kind of Jen's ultimate argument there. And
Cap was like, no.
That's wrong. I wanted him dead.
Listen,
Steve, sit down.
You can do 792 good things, but this one thing that you did that was probably going to happen anyways.
Yeah.
Because the Nazis killed literally everybody.
Exactly. Sam would have died either way.
Right. They both could have died at that point.
Uh-huh.
He happened to shoot Sam first.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, everything.
Sam.
Yeah, poor Sam. Bad day to be Sam. Let's see. Oh, so afterwards, right? Like, before, because, the jury is like, we find Steve Rogers, and then it cuts. And Steve, Jen, and Matt are walking the boardwalk in California. And they're talking and stuff. And Steve was found innocent, of course.
Right.
Right. Of course. Captain America.
Captain America.
But if it was Sam Wilson, I bet they would... Okay, so, anyway.
Whoa!
And they're like, they're walking with him, and they're like, so Steve, the fuck? You hired us both, like... You hired us to, like, oppose each other. What was that about? But he knew that Jen and Matt were, like, true people and, like, truly his friends. And if he wanted them to go at this, like, full force, there would be no question that anyone was holding back in court.
Right. He wanted, like, he wanted a fair trial.
Right, exactly. And he didn't want the media to be like, oh, well, like, I mean, the thing is, the weird part about that is that because both She-Hulk and Matt Murdock are, like, public now in this comic... It's like, I feel like the media could still make, like, it almost looks sketchier, right? That, like, the defendant and the prosecutor are both superheroes.
Defending a superhero and
Defending
prosecuting.
Yeah, exactly. It almost looks like an inside job, but no one talks about that.
Yeah.
I would think that it would all be a conflict of interest that neither of them can do that.
Oh, yeah. If She-Hulk actually got her way and was like, oh, I want to get Daredevil thrown off the case because, they're both superheroes, they'd be like, bitch, look in a mirrar. You're gone too.
What are you?
Yeah. You're green right now. Like, you have an Avengers card in your pocket right now, don't you? Okay, yeah, I do. It's my ID card. I get discounts, I'm sorry.
It's like a military discount.
I just use Avengers discounts. Avengers discount. Yeah, everywhere she goes. Wolverine must have 4 of those. But, yeah, so there is something more to this. Oh, yeah, so some of the evidence was fake and like, inconsistent in, like, the behavior of the people on the stands and stuff. Basically, there were people involved in the case who were being mind-controlled.
Who was mind-controlling them?
So Steve goes, my oldest nemesis, capable of mind-control powers. And Daredevil and She-Hulk are like looking around like, who? Yeah, I don't know who. And he's like, Dr. Faustus. And they're like, oh, yeah, Dr. Faustus, of course.
Who the fuck is Dr. Faustus? Is what they're asking themselves.
Yeah, he's like a evil hypnotist from the war.
Oh my god.
And he's still around, and Steve is like, now for the... so the thing is, he knew Dr. Faustus was behind all this. Like, I think he might have hypnotized Harold on his deathbed because Harold never blamed Cap to begin with, until Dr. Faustus got to him. Mm-hmm. And Cap was like, if I just go and beat up Dr. Faustus, there's still this, legal case hanging about.
Right.
People are going to think, oh, Cap is just beating this person up because, they called him out on something old. So I had to get the whole court thing settled first. So now we can go. Now I can go punch Dr. Faustus.
His ass.
Yeah. So the three of them, the three of them break into this warehouse, and Dr. Faustus. I'm gonna try to find this guy.
Did they take Hellcat with her because she could break into things with her fancy suit?
No.
Oh.
She was probably hungover somewhere.
Oh.
Oh yeah. So they go to this warehouse. They beat up these guards. Dr. Faustus is just this dude in a green suit.
What?
Yep.
With a white mask?
No, he's pale.
Oh.
And that's his beard.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I see it now.
You think you've won? This is just my opening salvo, Captain. You cannot fight me. After all, you will soon be dead. Because he's old. And Cap just goes, yeah, well, not yet. And he just knocks him out. You don't even see it. He just knocks him out himself.
Wham!
Wham!
Wham! Should I talk about the Cap thing or the final part of this first?
Probably.
Cap thing first.
Okay, so the Cap thing, right?
Yep.
He gets his powers back, not in this book, but later in a important book.
Okay.
He gets his powers. It's the same Cube Girl.
That's good.
But
keep the consistency.
Cube Girl considers Red Skull her father, and therefore when she gives Steve his powers and his youth back, she also implants in his head that a memory of him always being a member of Hydra.
Oh, come on.
So, in Captain America #1 from
Captain America
from 2016 or whatever, Captain America #1. At the end of that book, Cap pushes an ally out of a window or whatever, and then stands there and goes, "Hail Hydra!"
Oh my god!
And that's if you've seen it on the news and stuff from a while, a couple of years ago. This made news and internet news of the panel of Cap saying "Hail Hydra" and everyone's saying.
I think I remember this.
Yeah, in fact,
I was mad.
They reference Cap doing the Hail Hydra thing in Endgame as well.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's kind of spurred from him getting his powers back. Now, you'd think the way they resolve it is just fixing his brain and being like, hey, those were fake memories, you're not a bad person, turn that off, bye. No more evil Cap for you. And maybe go on an apology tour, or maybe just let Sam do it for a little while. No, the way they do it is they split him into two dudes.
Oh!
So now there's the Cap everyone likes, and the Nazi Cap that we put in the basement and we don't talk about anymore because that book didn't sell very well.
Oh my god.
Goodbye.
How do they split him in two? Do they talk
the Cube?
Man? Oh, the Cube does
the
it.
Magic Cube!
The Cube! Okay,
the Cube! What happens to Cap after this book? But the third and final arc of this She-Hulk run, there's this really shitty 90s character named Nightwatch. Nightwatch.
Distant relative to Ravage, I see.
I mean, you'd think he'd be closer to Spawn, actually. Mainly because he's literally a Marvel ripoff of Spawn.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, Marvel was like, hey, this Spawn book is selling better than both of us. What do we do? Make our own Spawn. Make our own Spawn. How about that? Yeah. So they made their own Spawn. It's called Nightwatch. And Sony wants to make a movie about it. Fuck that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Now they do?
Now they do.
Oh.
Yeah. They're like, once we get all that money from Morbius, Nightwatch is...
Isn't Morbius not going to do well, right?
It's not going to do well.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm convinced it's a fake movie. So, the third arc of this book, it involves this blue file. And it's this one case that Jen has had ever since, the beginning of her law career or whatever.
Is it her cold case that she can't solve?
Yeah. And she, refuses to look into it because it just has haunted her forever. And her new assistant, Angie, knows something about the blue file and she wants to, look into it. And she goes no, we can't look into that case, Angie. And then this supervillain named Titania shows up in her office holding the blue file.
Oh.
Yeah, and there's this big fight with she... Because the thing is, the whole Cap arc is, very word-heavy. There's not a lot of action in it. So directly after, there's a whole issue where she's just fighting Titania across New York.
Okay.
and they fight. Someone is mind controlling Titania, as well as her friend Volcana.
Dr. Faustus.
No, forget about him.
Oh, okay.
No, he got punched.
Ooh, who cares about that guy? The whole thing is spurred on from Nightwatch, who doesn't look like he did in the 90s, probably because they're embarrassed. Okay, I'm going to show you this panel, but you also need to know that Hi is a magic monkey, so he can fly and stuff.
Hey.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but
So now he's just a monkey from The Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's good.
Instead of looking like Spawn, Nightwatch just looks like...
He's got a trench coat on.
Yeah, he kind of looks like a Street Fighter character.
He looks like a really, bad adaptation of Rorschach right there.
Yeah, you know what, he's probably just a bad Rorschach, honestly. But, he shows up in the middle of this fight, and he explains himself, and we get a little action, but we also get a little words. So, it's great, right? Because they create Nightwatch in the 90s to do his own thing, be a Spawn ripoff, has a future suit. He's got his own deal over here. In this book, the writer Charles Soule is like, you know who's stupid? Nightwatch. You know who should actually be a villain? Nightwatch. You know who I'm going to retcon? Nightwatch. So, they reveal in this story that there was this big superhero fight with, She-Hulk was there. I think Hellcat might have been there. Monica Rambeau from that WandaVision show, she was there.
Oh.
Yeah, and there was also a bunch of villains, like Titania, and Volcana, and the Shocker from Spider-Man comics. He was there.
Interesting choice.
And also Nightwatch, who was a villain.
Ooh.
And that's weird to everyone, because everyone knows him as a superhero. What he reveals here, because, apparently the Blue File is about what happened with Nightwatch being a villain, and certain people have, repressed memories about him being a villain, including Angie, who was a civilian during that fight, and also including these villains and even She-Hulk. And what Nightwatch reveals, because the jig is up and everyone's, remembering the Blue File and stuff, he's like, okay, people are starting to remember that I changed things, so I'm here to explain it all to you, and then kill you so you can't tell anyone else.
It's really weighing really hard on my conscience. I just gotta get it out.
Well, the thing is,
but I don't want you to tell anyone.
You're gonna remember. It's like the spell's wearing off, and they're like, what? And during this big supervillain fight, the villains were protecting Nightwatch as he was creating a spell. And they thought the spell would just, kill all the heroes or make them all immortal. Do something that, benefits them.
Sure.
And Nightwatch is like, oh no, the spell is actually, a memory augmentation spell.
Oh, that's good.
So he completes it, and everyone on Earth, forgets that he's a villain, and they all think he's, a fellow hero. They all think he's, a, Avengers-level superhero.
Okay.
And all the villains think that, too. So they're like, wait, what are we doing here? Why are we fighting the heroes? And Nightwatch is like, aha! Punches them out.
I'm gonna tell you, but then I'm gonna have to kill you.
So Nightwatch was a villain, became a hero?
He was a villain, then he brainwashed everyone on Earth into thinking he's a superhero.
But he's still a villain.
Yeah.
He put up a front because he changed everybody's memories.
Yeah, so everyone thinks that he's a hero, but over time the spell starts wearing off, and people, they don't remember it directly, they just remember, something was taken from their memories.
I was gonna say, he looked like a villain, yeah.
So,
There's no way he should have been a hero.
Well, because, when they created him, it was the 90s, and everyone looked like a villain.
True.
So, he reveals that to them, and they're all Shocker is there, and he's like, I knew something was missing from my past, and everyone's like, shut up, Shocker. Anyway.
No one likes you.
Shocker, no, this isn't making you interesting, shut up.
This isn't still irrelevant.
This is my villain origin, shut up, Shocker.
Go back in the basement with Ravage and the Nazi Cap. They're all having a party down there.
They're just chilling
Have a beer, dude.
No, they're just chilling down there listening to Motley Crue in the 90s because nobody else is.
Yeah. No, Nazi Cap has a great taste in music. Everything else, not so much. So, yeah, that's Nightwatch's deal. And he's like, now that people are starting to remember, I have to kill the people that remember first.
Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah, and he's also because they're also that's... Okay, why did you do that? You're not, an Avenger or anything. Why would you do that and then be, an obscure superhero? And he's like, well, I didn't want to be a big leaguer. People pay attention to Captain America and Iron Man and stuff, but, if I'm a superhero, I get stuff for free. I can, set up businesses, places, because I just have this name. But, if I was any bigger, people might suspect things of me. So, this whole time he's been coasting as a C-list superhero and benefiting financially from it. And it's like, you know, for a criminal...
That's
like,
the most villainous thing ever, right
exactly,
there,
right? It's actually the smartest thing.
Minute.
Yeah, how is he the first villain to think about this plan?
He's on the right track.
He's on the right track. His only mistake was, like, going here alone and telling both the villains and the heroes that he betrayed them.
He needed like a side. He needed like the Iago to Jafar.
Yeah.
He needed his little bird to like be on his side.
Or he needed, you know, to be multiple man and just make more of himself.
I like the way you think.
You can't fight 4 of me. There's like 7 of us. Hold on, just give me 1 minute. I can make more. I haven't eaten in a while, so it's gonna take me a little bit of time.
Give me a Gatorade. Give all of me a Gatorade.
Each of us.
Give us all orange juice. We'll just
oh no, I'm in a dumb clone again.
I'm here to help, sir.
Why do they keep getting dumber?
He explains all that, and he's like, "Now I'm gonna kill you," and they're like, "No," and they all punch him at the same time, and he's knocked.
Wow. Oh god.
Problem solved. He's going to jail. And the legacy of Night Watch is ruined forever. Which is just like...
He almost had it.
It's crazy.
He had me in the first half.
Like, it's weird. It's so weird. Because, like, Night Watch is a character from the 90s that no one paid attention to. And it's like, what possessed Charles' soul to go back and be like, I just don't want... I want to make him a villain, and I want to, like, not... Like, no one was using him.
Right.
It's not like this was a relevant character. He was just like... I mean, he was probably reading old Spider-Man issues like, oh, fucking, I hate this guy. So, this happened, and then in 2017, okay, so you guys know that event, Civil War, we talked about?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how there was, like, a movie?
Mm-hmm.
So, let me ask you a multiple-choice question. When the Marvel Studios was releasing Captain America Civil War, do you think Marvel editorial was like, A, let's republish Civil War from, like, you know, the mid-2000s and just do kind of like a super big book, like a special edition omnibus or something? Or do we do an event called Civil War 2?
Yes.
Yeah, that one.
Civil War 2, yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, and you would think...
Completely change everything.
Yeah, you would think, okay, we're doing another Civil War. It's coming out around the same time as the movie. We probably want some synergy, right? We maybe want, like... We want Cap and Iron Man to be on opposite sides again. No. Iron Man... and Captain Marvel will be on opposite sides. You know, because we're going to introduce Captain Marvel in, like, 6 years. So let's just talk about it right now.
Captain America on. Is Captain America still on the opposite side?
Yeah, he's on Iron Man's team.
Oh, no, he's on Iron Man's team this time.
In Civil War 2, the comic event, it's Captain Marvel and Iron Man on opposite sides. And there's this character that can predict the future. And Captain Marvel wants to use the future guy to predict crimes before they happen and then stop those crimes before they happen. And Iron Man's like, that's messed up, because, like... That's
how you fuck with the timeline.
Yeah, you're also just saying that fate is predetermined if you, acknowledge that, basically. But it's this whole thing, and...
TCA is not like that.
Yeah, and Captain America is on Iron Man's side, but it's not because he believes in Cap's side, Cap is on Iron Man's side because he doesn't care which side wins, because the character that can see the future gives other people future visions. And Cap got a vision of Hydra winning. And at that point, it's Hydra Cap we're dealing with. Oh, so he's like, doesn't matter which one he wins.
I'm going to win.
I'm going to win. Hail Hydra.
Oh my god.
Ravager, let's go. But yeah, Civil War 2, like, that event, the reason it's relevant to She-Hulk is because it opens with Thanos coming to Earth and being like, hey, I'm here to beat you guys up again. And War Machine is like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to shoot you. And Thanos is like, okay, no, you first. And he shoots him. So if War Machine dies...
That kind of fits, yeah.
and then She-Hulk takes, like, a missile to the head or something. And when she gets in a coma.
Oh.
And, like, the future guy predicts the Hulk going on a rampage. So both sides go to confront Bruce Banner, who at the time hadn't hulked out in a very long time.
Okay.
And he's like, guys, I don't even know if I can be the Hulk again. And they're like, yeah, but, like...
We need you.
We had the future vision guy said you were going to freak out and kill everyone. And he's like, yeah, but I'm not. I can't even Hulk out. I don't know what you're talking about.
Meanwhile, it's actually She-Hulk.
And, like, they're yelling at him. Like, all the superheroes are yelling and pointing at Bruce Banner.
To try to get him to Hulk out?
No, just like, you need to come with us, you're under arrest. Like, I didn't do anything. I can't even Hulk out. It's a whole thing. Stop resisting. Put your hands behind your back. That stuff.
I didn't do anything.
Get in the car. His eyes turn a little bit green.
Shoot him.
And then an arrow hits him in the head. Because Hawkeye was in the woods.
Hawkeye!
And Hawkeye's like, oh my god, slightest bit of green. Never mind the fact that he has green eyes.
Because also, Civil War 2 is a stupid book, and I'm glad we're talking about it now, so I never have to talk about it again.
Okay.
Bruce Banner in the past had asked Hawkeye if it was when he lost the Hulk stuff, and he was like, if Hulk ever comes back, here's an arrow, kill me. And so Hawkeye did what he asked.
Okay.
Bruce died.
Good on Hawkeye.
Don't worry, he went to hell and came back.
Oh, that's good.
As the Immortal Hulk.
As
The Immortal Hulk.
He's in the basement too.
His basement's getting crowded.
But when She-Hulk comes out of her coma at the end of Civil War 2, you know, her friend War Machine's dead. Her friends all hate each other.
The Hulk's dead.
And her cousin, the Hulk, is dead. She comes out of the coma, and her powers become tied to her PTSD.
Oh, good.
So instead of being, like, interesting, she's just, like, regular Hulk now. Like, when she turns into Hulk, she's, like, a mindless monster. And it's not really interesting anymore. They fix it. They fix it, and, like, when Hulk comes back immortal and kind of evil, his chair is open on the Avengers, and the Avengers are all sitting there like, do we know any other Hulks that are like around? And they're like, yeah, Jen. All right, so they call Jen. And so Jen is the Hulk on the Avengers for a little while.
Okay.
Yeah, she hooks up with Thor.
They should have got the Abomination from that one Hulk movie.
do we know any Hulks? Abomination kind of counts. Isn't he evil? Yeah, well, we're all criminals. So like,
He's in the basement.
He's in the basement. Yeah, and then currently she's got a book, and she's normal. She's just She-Hulk. There's no weird twist with it now. It's just She-Hulk as you know her to be. But yeah, that is She-Hulk from 2014, written by Charles Soule. I'm a really big fan of this book. I enjoyed reading it when it came out. What did you guys think of the story?
I liked it.
I thought it was really interesting.
Is there like a favorite detail to this book that stood out for you guys?
Pauling's Ravage.
Well, I like the Night Watch art. That was very interesting to me.
Right, I like that too.
Tricking everybody, more or less.
I like that it's gaslighting, but superhero gaslighting.
Yeah.
I like the fact that, you know, Steve Rogers fucked with an entire court case to make it go the way that it was supposed to go.
Yeah.
But he was in complete control of everything.
Yeah.
And was just like, oh no, we can't do any loopholes or anything like that. Meanwhile, I've loopholed the entire thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, one of the best things about Cap is that he doesn't know he's a hypocrite.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's almost more of a charming detail that he doesn't know that he's a hypocrite.
Yeah.
But Hail Hydra.
Hail Hydra, though, guys.
The other thing is, I find it really interesting that they used a dying declaration, because right around the time that this would have been released, dying declarations were, like, really controversial in, like, an actual, like, legal sense.
Well, that's probably why they wrote a story based around it, because of, you know... Like, that's what I like about a lot of these She-Hulk comics is... I like the She-Hulk comics where they do the court stuff, because it's like... You know, it's easy to tell a story where She-Hulk just punches a dude. And obviously we get that a couple times in this book. But, like, to actually pay attention to that is really important. I don't think they've ever had someone with a legal degree write for She-Hulk. But I've seen stuff where, like psychologists write books about people with mental diseases. Or, there's this writer, Tom King, who used to be in the Secret Service. And he wrote a book where Nightwing was a secret agent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they've done stuff like that where they get people who are kind of in that relevant area of expertise.
Kind of like when James Patterson had Bill Clinton do his couple books about the president.
Right.
Like, you brought that whole thing into it.
Yeah, no. And it's even more impressive that Charles Soule, like, I don't know what kind of research he did, but, like, you know, reading this, I read this on the front porch, and the whole time I was taking notes, because there's a lot of legal mumbo-jumbo in this. And it's nice, too, because it explains a lot. On next week's episode, what am I covering next week? I think Elektra? No. But, yeah, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Subscribe. Every month is a new Comic Buffet episode. And, guys, thank you so much for being part of this with me.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
But thank you very much for listening, and we'll catch you guys next time. Goodbye.